leave it. Yeah. Leave it alone. Don't go for the rubber match. But, because we've just come off of the back of the Undertaker kind of feud, and, Undertaker was an older kind of wrestler. Mm-hmm. But I see the Undertaker and Goldberg in two different leagues. Mm. It's hard to rival anyone with the Undertaker in terms of how good they work in that ring, So to have Goldberg in there, I'm not too sure they're going to be pulling off the level of matches that we saw against Brock and the Undertaker.
No, it'll be a completely different match. Listen, I mean, Goldberg, the physique of him has changed, but the guy is still in shape. Like, he's very much in shape. I know that he trains daily, so he's going to be there to work, but I just don't know if he's going to be ready for about 10 suplexes and all the rest of it. Like, it's going to be a real welcome back, that one for Bill Goldberg. And this is the only problem I have with this. As much as I like seeing Brock Lesnar, is I just think that Goldberg versus Brock, they could have had another match, Matt, where perhaps even Goldberg goes over in a way to get him back in. And also, especially when you hear Goldberg saying, well, I want that last match, and I want my, is it his son or his daughter? I don't know, one of the two, to see him actually have a wrestling match. You'd think he would have gone a different route, not someone like as violent as Brock Lesnar for this one. But, we will see how this develops. One thing I will say, Matt, as well to you, is that we know he's going to be on Raw tonight. What sort of thing are you expecting? And before you answer that, Matt, tell me this. Would you have rather have seen just Goldberg come out after all these years just at Survivor Series? Would that anticipation have been better? Just to see him there with that huge entrance? Or, is it worth having him in now? Because, you think there's quite a way to go until Survivor Series. This could get quite bland if they're not careful. And that sort of bazaars and everything else may have gone by the time we get to Survivor Series. What's your opinions on that, first and foremost?
I guess they want to, like we were saying before, they want to re-establish him to the fans, I guess, like tell the new kind of fans, this is who Goldberg is, look at his history, this is what he's done, this is why he should be, amazing to you. But, yeah, I can see why, bringing him in this early also is kind of a bad move because, I was never really a fan of Goldberg's work on the mic anyway. I don't think he was ever rated as one of the top people to actually work on the mic. A lot of what his wow factor was his high impact in the ring. But, going back and forth maybe with Paul Heyman, you can only do that a couple of times before you're made to look a bit of a fool.
Well, I tell you what, I think Paul Heyman, and he's there tonight, by the way, he is backstage, so I would be very shocked if there's not both of them out there on the mic. But here's one thing, I bet you any money, and I bet you the life, is that Paul Heyman will be doing his utmost to get Goldberg over slightly, because just watching him last week makes me think that, he always does a good job at that. Like, even when Cena was beat after SummerSlam, he still managed to, praise John Cena in a way, as being a dominant champion for all these. He's very good at that. And I do believe he's going to have to definitely help Goldberg on the stick later on, for sure. So, like I say, are you expecting anything in particular from Goldberg tonight? Maybe we see him spear or something? Or do you think it's just going to be return of Goldberg, in a jacket kind of scene, and just him giving a bit of stick maybe to Brock Lesnar, and maybe I think the most important thing is a reason perhaps why he would take the challenge.
Yeah, it's hard to say as well because his beef's going to be with Brock, isn't it? So I don't really see him dishing out too many spears. I mean, I don't think Heyman's going to want to get one of them. All I can sort of see him doing is coming out, doing a bit of talking, and then saying, "Goldberg, you're next." Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait and see. I mean, I don't know what the anticipation is for Goldberg tonight. The one thing I will say is that on this podcast, anyway, we had more emails hyping and more excited about Ronda Rousey's fight at UFC than we did Goldberg, which, it's a wrestling podcast, and I guess I was a little bit surprised, but then maybe I shouldn't be that surprised, because if you think how long Goldberg hasn't been involved, and like I say, Matt, it's not like WWE really, they don't really show a lot of his stuff, they just don't. It's the best of him is basically in WCW, and, it's very unlikely that they show that sort of stuff. But I think they've got to show, maybe they'll probably do it tonight and the weeks coming, just videos of him dominating in WCW. I think that's all you can do, really. But again, that's a long time ago, Matt, isn't it? To get back into that and to think this guy is a credible threat. I know Goldberg is Goldberg, but, I'm just not sure. But, we'll see what happens later tonight. And, he'll be on Raw for sure. So, I'm sure it'll be good if you're there. Let's move on to another subject, Matt. Something you actually put in a message to me today, and I did hear about this a lot yesterday, and my eyebrows raised slightly because it was all about John Cena and apparently being pressuring the WWE to finally turn him heel. But every time I thought about it, as I said to you earlier, I felt like, hang on a minute, surely that's the pressure's on Roman Reigns to finally turn. I'm not too sure about John Cena because, I don't know. I mean, at this stage of his career, Matt, and he's teased it a few times. We've had it many times. Like I remember the feud he had with Nixus and Wade Barrett, where they were kind of trying to say, he was going to be go bad and he'd join them and all the rest of it. And then there was other times with, CM Punk kind of kept toying with that idea and fans jumped on his bandwagon. And then, probably the latest one, I'm trying to think what that was, maybe with Bray Wyatt when he kept trying to say, John Cena can only go so far without, turning into a monster or whatever. They've definitely teased at this a long time, Matt, but listen, they've never gone that way with him. And strangely enough, as cool as it would have been for me, I think we've just gone past it to the point where I don't know, I really want to see it now. I just don't know if this is the right stage of his career to suddenly turn on this heel. And also, my God, they'd have to come out with an incredible reason as to why for the last, 10, 12 years, this guy has stuck to his guns, is all of a sudden going to be a heel. I don't know how you could get round that, but how do you feel about the idea of John Cena turning, first of all, Matt?
I don't really mind that idea too much, actually. I think it would be something that they, people have been wanting, a lot of people have been wanting to see this for a long time now. And it could go many ways, in fact, because one thing it could do, it could flip John Cena completely, It could have all the kids turn on him and all the adults like him, and in which case it's still 50-50. Or you could get, the ultimate effect and have everybody hate him, Mm-hmm. And if you do that, then John Cena is instantly the top heel in the company. I mean, I know he's, kind of the top face, but he does still get 50% of, boos and cheers, so it's kind of difficult to read that. But I think he's now reached a stage in his career as well where if he doesn't do it now, this chance isn't really going to come along too many more times because he's kind of going slightly more part-time now, isn't he? He shows up once every 2 weeks or so now, mm-hmm. So his career is winding down. And it does kind of remind me about The Rock when he went off to do his own projects.
Sure.
And then he came back and he had a little bit of a heel run. And I thought that was kind of good. That was one of my favourite kind of Rock incarnations, that one. Mm. So I wouldn't mind seeing John Cena turn heel. I think it would shock a lot of people, and it may actually do what they're looking for and actually generate some more ratings because it's not been great lately.
No, it hasn't been that great. As you can tell on the ratings, but. I think you're right. I mean, there is potential there. I'm just not. For me personally, I just think it's just too late. I mean, I know there's the idea of it as well. Is he would hook up with a group, maybe his own group, and I guess people are comparing it a lot to Hulk Hogan. With the NWO that he brought 2 new guys in and got them over by his name appeal there, and you could possibly pull something like that off, but. Sometimes you don't want to see, only the first time something like that happens is always the best. I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't be a huge shock for John Cena to turn heel, because it would be. It would have the same impact as probably Hogan. But you got to remember, we did see it already, regardless. People will make the comparison without a doubt. They just will. I don't know. I think unless there's a really unique way, now whether that fits in with these storied getting to the 16th title, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe the only way he's going to get it is if he has to go and cheat, or has to really make sure he gets that title victory at all costs, possibly. maybe the Undertaker match, Matt. If it happens next year, maybe there's potential not before it, but actually during the match for him to do something really outrageous and get that final victory on maybe the Undertaker's last match. Like how pissed would fans be on the Undertaker's last match, and John Cena, who goes in it all heroically, does the dirty on him right at the end. That's the last thing we know. I mean, there are definitely ways of doing it, but like you say, Matt, I mean, his career is winding down. I mean, now he's off again. He's going to go and shoot some more stuff in TV, so I'm not expecting to see him back until the end of the year, if not January. So for me, it's only worth doing if he's going to be around full time. There's no point in just a little run. Like, if you've had this much run as a babyface, when you turn heel, you've got to kind of be around all the time, because he'll be quite a big attraction, regardless, to finally see him as a full blown heel in against wrestlers that he's sometimes not been against, and obviously not shown that character against. There's a whole new way to go with him. But for me, I just look at the guy and I think, well, he's gone through face all this way. He's done exactly what he said: hustle, loyalty, respect. He's never changed. And I actually, especially in the last couple of years, when the idea kind of got a little bit old for me, I thought to myself, well, there's not too many guys that have just gone through their career against all odds and just, gone that way, and perhaps end it that way is a bigger thing than having that slight heel turn during it. I don't know, just right at the end seems a bit strange, but it all depends how long Cena's going to hang around for, Matt, because Hogan hung around for a while after. But if John Cena, if we're talking a year, there's no real point. I mean, if it's on and off as well, there can't be much point to it, and I would probably keep him as he is, and still go for that 16th time championship for sure. There's still a lot of stories to go with, but I mean, we may differ there, but I think it's all depends, Matt. And the main thing for me is how they do it and what the reason is, because it could be something really stupid. Knowing the WWE, I don't know, he didn't he didn't eat his cornflakes properly or something. It could be something really daft. The way they go with it, it's very odd. So I think that has to be the main reason into me enjoying that, and whether it'll work or not. Matt, just on a quick note about John Cena. Obviously, a lot of fans speculating what he's going to do. We didn't see him last year at WrestleMania, so obviously fans are expecting perhaps the idea of an Undertaker John Cena match finally, or him going for the trying to draw the record with Ric Flair for the 16-time or one of the belts, whatever that'll be. Either his own one, or does he change? Who knows? What would you prefer to see, Matt, out of the two ideas?
Well, it depends on the length of his career. Like I said, what he's got left. I think he's got a bit more left. So I think this year I'd like to see John Cena at Taker, because you've got to make the most of Undertaker whilst he's still here. I think the 16-time thing will still be there the year after, or if not, he could fill that at a SummerSlam. It doesn't necessarily have to be a WrestleMania. Yeah. So I think the WrestleMania match I'd like to see with John Cena Taker.
Yeah, that could be a good. That would be a great heel turn on the night, I believe. That'd be something that people would remember if he done it on the Undertaker, just because it's the Undertaker and it means so much more. And I think people would probably be quite shocked by it if he done something so bad, something so corrupt for John Cena, that could be something very meaningful, and then get him over into SummerSlam, as you said, Matt, and perhaps go for that belt, and then you've got a heel champion all of a sudden, and I
wouldn't mind seeing a sort of John Cena Taker career versus career match, and that being the reason why John Cena has to do what he has to do.
That'd be and how many fans of the Undertaker all these years, that have stayed loyal. So that's a great couple of ideas, but just speculation for now. Just interested. Don't forget, I'd like to hear what our listeners feel about that, and email us in at the Wrestling Skull Podcast at gmail.com. Gives me a little bit of time now before we get to our next subject. Just to remind everybody, WAW is on Mustard TV in the UK, and if you haven't got that on your Freeview or Virgin, You can easily go and check it out online. It's on like an on-demand, and